Hello everybody, this is Mr. Enyart with Grade 6, Module 5, Lesson 3, Area of Triangles and other composite figures with rectangles or squares involved that the triangles are not necessarily right triangles. So stick around, let me know if you have any thoughts, and let's get to it. All right, Lesson 3 of Module 5. Now we're going to get into triangles that are not right triangles. This is an acute scalene triangle, all different sizes of sides, and each angle is acute. Now, what we need to do in order to figure it out is use what we know about area of right triangles. So they stated as area equals half BH, which is 1/2 times the base times the height. That is the exact same as what I talked about in Lesson 2. That is base times height divided by 2. When you multiply something by half, you are cutting it into 2 pieces. So it's the exact same formula. You can use whichever one makes more sense to you. It's a language, make it make sense. So here, you need to understand that we do not have this side right here. This is not existent. This is not real. Okay, this is not part of the original triangle. This, let's see if I can make it here. This is the original triangle. Okay, so I'm going to make all this disappear so you can see it in its gloriousness. It is a scalene acute triangle. That's what we're given. Okay, now the numbers are based on them drawing in a height for you. So that I just erased right there was an imaginary line that they drew in to be 90 degrees from the base to the top point of the triangle. That creates a height from the top to the bottom, and the 90 degrees creates 2 separate right triangles within the original triangle. So now I'll go back. Where am I at? Where's it at? Oh, it's not getting rid of it. Boom, there it is. Okay, so now you can see this line was drawn in, and they went ahead and gave you the measurements. They told you the height is 12 centimeters, and what they did is they're giving you the length of this side from the imaginary line at 12.6, and the length of this side from the imaginary line at 9. But the total length of the side, okay, the total length of the side would be 12.6 plus 9. However, the best way they're trying to get you to find the total area of this non-right triangle is to make 2 right triangles and find the area of each and add them together. So that's why you have area of 2 right triangles and then area of entire right triangle. So let's just do this one, and then you can try the rest on your own. Okay, so we're going to take each triangle separately. I'm going to call this triangle 1 and this purple one triangle 2. For triangle 1, all we need is the height and the base. We don't need this 15. It is irrelevant. You can cross it out. You don't need it. So what we do is we multiply the 9 of the base right here. They gave us this. And the 12 of the height to get 108. And then we divide that by 2 or multiply it times 1/2. It's the same thing. And we get 54 centimeters squared. Now this side, our base is 12.6 and our height is 12. And then obviously you'd see the total base would be those two combined. So what we need to recognize is this 17.4 is irrelevant and doesn't matter. We don't need it. So we're going to multiply 12.6 times 12. That's 151.2. Then we're going to divide that by 2. And we're going to get 75 6/10. So our area is 75 6/10. So now you can see we have 2 areas of the 2 triangles that we made out of the original triangle. So now what do we have to do with those numbers to find the area of the entire triangle? Add them together. And when we do that, you're going to get 129 6/10 centimeters squared as the entire area of the triangle. Now, I would be remiss to tell you there's another way to do this because I'm all about knowing as many possible options. So they want you to separate it into 2 triangles, use the right triangle method, and add them together. Yes, that works. However, guess what? Base times height divided by 2 works anyway. Because if you think about it, the total base, right, would be 12.6 plus 9, which is 21.6 centimeters, okay? So if we multiplied 21.6 times 12, we would be creating a triangle or a rectangle that would make this. Okay, so imagine I'm a perfect artist. And what you'll notice is I'm creating a rectangle that has two congruent triangles, even though this is non-existent, right? But that's congruent to this. And this little one right here is congruent to this. It's just been moved. So theoretically, if I find the area of this rectangle and divide by 2, I'm cutting out these two congruent pieces and leaving me these two. And I can show you mathematically that it works as well. 21.6 as our combined base, the actual base of the entire triangle, right, times 12, the height, is 259 and 2/10. When you divide that by 2, you get 129.6. So it's the same answer. So breaking it into two pieces, yay. There are other shapes where you kind of have to do that. But for triangles, base times height divided by 2, or 1/2 base times height, these formulas, they're the same thing, get you the same answer, whether you break it into two pieces or not. Anyway, try these next few, and then I will just put these answers down so you can check them. So pause the video and try these whichever way you like. So here you go. This is what I got. I got 30 and 94 feet squared for this one by adding 20.8 and 10.14. Keep in mind, if you added 8 and 3.9 to get 11.9 and multiplied that by 5.2, then divided by 2, you would also get 30.94. Here's the second one, 4 and 1/72 inches squared. This one I kind of did a little out over here. I have 24/6 represented by 2 times 2, which is 4. And then 2 times 5/6 is 10/6, and then I added those together to get my 34/6, then multiplied it by a half, because that's easier than dividing by 2, which would just be multiplying by half, and then got to this and simplified. Anyway, 2 and 5/6 times 2 and 5/6 is also 4 and 1/72. And then over here, last one, triangle 1, 34 by 32. Base and height gave me a 544 meter squared area after multiplying then dividing by 2. Then I get 192, and I add those together to get 736. But remember, 34 plus 12, the entire base of the real triangle, which is going to be 46. 46 times 32 divided by 2, 736. All right, so give the problem set a go, and then check back for the answers. So pause the video and go for it, and then we shall move on. Here are the answers to 1 through 4. So for 1, it's just, I like the base times height divided by 2, just keeping it that simple. So the base is 9.4, and 9.4 times the height of 4.4 is 41.36, divided by 2 is 20.68. Remember, you can use a calculator if you want to, as long as you know the formulas. If you don't know the formulas, calculator won't help. Same thing over here. I did base times height divided by 2 and got 168 meters squared. Down here, to find the area of this square would be 12 times 12. That's 144 feet squared. Can't forget which we already know, which is side squared or length times width for the area of a square. But for these two identical triangles, right, they're each going to be the same thing added together. So I ended up just not dividing by 2 up here, even though I showed you that. And then I just added my 65 to my 144 and got 209 feet squared. And then on this figure, I've got another square, which I had to add 24 and 24 to get 48 times 35, length times width. And that's not a square, that's a rectangle, even though it looks like a square. But it did say figures are not drawn to scale. So 1,680 kilometers squared for this rectangle. And then again, I did base times height, which is 48 times 7, giving me 336. And since I would divide by 2 to figure this out, but then I'd multiply by 2 to combine with this identical triangle, I just left it at 336. Added that to my rectangle, and I got 2,116 kilometers squared. And here's questions 5 through 8. So on 5, you're just doing the base times the height, and then you're dividing it by 2, and you'll get 768 meters squared. Same thing with number 6. Again, you read this, you tried it out, so you're just doing base times height, then you're dividing it by 2, and you're going to get 5 and 5/16 feet squared. On number 7, they're just wanting you to break that process down. So I did 10 the base times 4, the height, and then times 1/2, which is divided by 2, and you get 20 inches squared. And then for 8, this is a little trickier. Your formula is set up as 7.5, right? This is the height or altitude, times whatever base is, times 1/2 should equal 32.5 because they gave you what the area was. So when you plug that to work out B, you then have to get rid of times 7.5 and times 1/2. To get rid of times 7.5, you have to divide by 7.5. So we're going to do 32.5 divided by 7.5. And to get rid of times 1/2, you can divide by 1/2 or you can multiply by 2. So multiplication, can't get rid of multiplication when you have fractions. So then you do times 2 and you get 8 2/3. You can then plug it in and check that 8 2/3 times 7.5 times 1/2 equals 32.5. So there you have it. Let me know what you think. Message me on Schoology if you need to, or comment on the video, and hopefully all is well. See you later.